Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'll be checking Red Dead Redemption 2 running on Xbox Series S. So the less powerful of the two Xbox consoles. Now I never played that game on Xbox Series S, so I'm kind of curious how this game actually performs on Xbox Series S. I know that's still a backwards compatible title, so there has not been any updates, nothing like that, no next gen patch, well, at least for now. So hopefully that will change in the future, but I was just curious how this game actually stack up against Xbox One X and Xbox Series X version, because we know that it's 4K 30, right? That game looks fantastic on all consoles really, but I remember that Xbox One version of this game and Xbox Series S will probably run that particular version. Had some, well, obviously performance issues here and there, and also resolution was pretty low. I'm not really sure if they are using dynamic resolution scaling or something. I think they do. I think, not that I know. I think, and I think that the lowest this game would go on Xbox One. So you know, the last gen console was like 820p or something like that, I think. So that wasn't really that great. So, but yeah, I mean, on this console, this game looks actually pretty damn good. Now, resolution, of course, is lower than what we are getting on Xbox Series X, so that's not 4K. We are getting Xbox One version, so I think it's limited to 1080p, and it actually looks pretty good. So now, obviously, I would expect, and that's what we are getting, like a bit of shimmering when you look for far in the distance. So if you look at the leaves on the actual tree and stuff, you know, they shimmer, right? Like you can see that. That's normal, especially in games like that runs at 1080p or lower. But other objects like in the actual city are really quite detailed. They are not really that blurry, which you sometimes get. So this game actually impresses me on Xbox Series S. I'm actually quite surprised how well this game actually looks on Xbox Series S. So oh, that never gets old. Ouch. That's my hat. Well, clearly that's not my horse, right? I mean, I don't think it is. I don't remember, to be honest with you. But okay, can I?
I just don't know.
Actually, I think it is my horse. Oh, that was funny. Yeah, so performance now. Well, it's okay. So graphics, let's actually. Yeah, I stole. Yeah, there you go. That was not my horse. Clearly. So I was planning a little bit of a tour around the city, but yeah, clearly that's not going to happen now because I am wanted. So let's look around over here. So of course this game over here is not going to be as sharp as on Xbox Series X or even Xbox One X because it's not 4K. Graphics wise, I think it's these two are very similar, because I even remember that for the most part most games on Xbox One and Xbox One X would run at very similar settings. You would get higher resolution textures here and there, I guess. Oh, the bounty for me is the bounty on my head is $65. Can you believe it? So, like, look at the water and everything. Are they still chasing me? Hurry up, man, hurry up. Gotta lose them. It's getting ridiculous. Okay, hopefully they won't find me here. Okay, so you know, despite the fact that the resolution is a bit on a lower side, the game is still full of details. Like, look at the water, and like there's a frog over there. Look at it. So there's like a lot of details in this game that just make this game one of the, I guess, you know, prettier games on Xbox One and last generation. It's one of those kind of realistic kind of games, and of course now it's actually running at 30 frames per second. So a performance boost would be nice thing to have, but even I know that it will sound weird, but for a 30 frames per second game, the actually animations, oh, bloody hell, these are the same two guys that were chasing me before. So it's actually pretty good. Of course I would prefer nice and smooth 60 frames per second, but if I were to tell you whether or not to play this game, if you've got an Xbox Series S, I would still say go ahead, do it, because it's a fantastic game. It looks great on even on Xbox Series S, despite its lower resolution. But it's actually, because sometimes you get games that are like 1080p, sometimes dynamic 1080p, and they drop clarity. Like a good example, one of the best examples I think is Halo Infinite. Somebody told me that they 343 just used VRS too aggressively, which makes the technology to make the textures much blurrier and stuff, right? But obviously that's not the case over here, and we are getting a lot of details. Like the graphics was great. When it comes to performance, it's pretty much locked 30 frames per second. And so yeah, generally speaking, it's even that 30 frames per second on this console is not actually that bad, because yeah, there's quite a bit of motion blur. Of course, it has to be. There has to be, because otherwise the game would get too choppy. But you know, it's a sacrifice that had to be made last generation with many games, not only this one. And so I'm super glad that finally we kind of we passed that mark of games on consoles being 30 frames per second as a standard, right? So that's finally gone. Obviously, if you still want to play some older title, then yeah, you will have to deal with it. But other than that, new games and some older games are also that have been updated are 60 frames per second on Xbox Series S and X. So guys, yeah, this game looks fantastic. I think it might be looking a bit better than the original Xbox One version because of its dynamic resolution scaling. I think this game is using that, and I think it's actually running close to 1080p, maybe even 1080p if it does, because it actually looks pretty good. Yeah, there is a little bit of shimmering here and there, especially on trees and stuff, right? But other than that, I can't complain. I cannot complain. Obviously, I still would love a next-gen patch for this game, but I'm not sure if that will ever happen. Which is weird, because this game has an online component to it, and people still play it. So you know, you can kind of treat it as a game as service. So it would make sense to deliver 60 frames per second patch, just like they did with GTA 5, for example. I mean, that wasn't really a patch; that was like a brand new game. But at least you didn't have to pay like a full price, right? And with this one, yeah. So, I mean, they all keep shooting at me all the time for some reason. What the hell did I do to these people? Yeah, look at the lighting. I love the lighting and the textures as well. Yeah, 30 frames per second is not great, but it will do. It has to. Please don't tell me that this guy on the horse will not try to kill me for some reason. Like, for some reason, everyone is trying to kill me today. Hello, mate. How's it going? Move along, move along. Yeah. Okay, great. So guys, that's Red Dead Redemption 2 on Xbox Series S. I'm actually quite surprised by this game on Xbox Series S. It looks really good. Resolution is, I think it's closer to 1080p than anything. I'm not sure if they are using dynamic resolution scaling or not, but it looks good. It runs, well, runs great, I wanted to say, but it's 30 frames per second locked. At least it's locked, not like on Xbox One and Xbox One S. So that's a plus, right? So that's the video, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks for support. I really appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.